It is happening at 1 degrees of Aries, occurring at 12:07 a.m. Eastern Time. So because it's just after midnight Eastern Time, for you, it may be happening on the 12th. It may just be happening later in the day on the 13th. So keep that in mind with this date based on your time conversion. Saturn, we have a very similar story to Neptune and Uranus. We have a planet that has been in one sign for a period of a few years, so much shorter than the other two, but a period of a few years, that entered its preview period and then will be retrograding out of it into the sign it was in before and then locking into the new sign. So it's a tale as old as all of the outer planets are doing this. And then we'll be done. This is the last one, and they're all going to be shifting, and it will be pretty much resolved January, February, March, and then we had the one straggler that was by itself in April. But all the others are really January and February. They're going to be reset and moving back into their new sign permanently. Neptune also stationed retrograde at 1 degree of Aries a week before. What this means, because Neptune moves very, very slowly, is they are right on top of each other. They're also infusing each other's energies. So we have two tightly overlapping retrogrades happening. This is very important to consider. They're not happening in a vacuum. They are stacked on top of each other. Saturn represents responsibility, maturity, boundaries, also time. You can set boundaries with time, but time is medicine, as there's wisdom in time. That's kind of the vibe of Saturn. And retrogrades are a time when we are healing, reflecting, revisiting in the context of Saturn, redoing, recalibrating, rebuilding. Saturn wants to build systems that are serious for the long term and that will last. So when Saturn is retrograding, we're going back and saying, we got to do this better. We have to fix this. This is a big deal. Like there's a seriousness to how Saturn approaches everything. Like, we're cutting the crap. This isn't working. We need to make an adjustment. That is the vibe when Saturn is going retrograde. In contrast, if we have Mercury retrograde, how are we thinking about this? Are we ruminating? Totally different vibes. So with Saturn, we have to take this more seriously. We have to fix this. We have to do this better so that it will last. Now, when this is happening in Aries, we're focusing on action, courage, competition, passion, and of course, independence. Aries, the leader of the zodiac, the first sign. Saturn initially entered Aries in May on the 24th. This was a very happy day for people like myself who have been in their Saturn return in Pisces. We have been on vacation, if you will. We've had a break, kind of, because then all this other stuff has been happening. So it hasn't really felt like a break, but technically it's been a break. And everyone who has Saturn in Aries has been going through their Saturn return in a preview period. So we've had a vacation, but we're not off the hook yet. So I am going to run through the full timeline, just as I did for all the other planets of the different ingresses. And of course, as we get to each of these handoffs happening, I'll go back and I'll repeat some of this again. We'll have a little bit more context, knowing how things transpired. We'll have some of the transits behind us. So I will revisit all of these major outer planets as they're changing some months down the line when we get to them doing their handoffs again or the retrogrades ending. So Saturn entered Aries May 24th. This kicked off a preview period of taking action, Aries, to set boundaries, Saturn, to start new projects that are going to last for the long haul, as well as taking the house area or areas that you have in Aries more seriously. You're rededicating yourself to those areas of life. That's how you can think about it from the broader context. Of course, if you're having a Saturn return, you're laying some different things on top of that. If you want to learn a little bit more about Saturn returns, you can check out the video that I dropped for this transit back in May, where I gave some examples about Saturn returns in general, a little bit of my experience with Saturn in Pisces. So if you want more details on that, you can head over to my YouTube channel and find those details. And now here's the timeline. Saturn entering Aries happened May 24th. Saturn stationing retrograde happening July 13th. Saturn re-entering Pisces September 1st, 4:07 a.m. Eastern Time. I got it marked in my calendar already because I got to be on high alert. Then Saturn is going to station direct at 25 degrees of Pisces. So it's going to move, unlike Neptune and unlike Uranus, which moves so slowly. Saturn moves faster, so it's going to get all the way to 25 degrees of Pisces on November 27th at 10:52 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's stationing direct in Pisces, then it's going to retrace those 4 degrees, then go into Aries again, February 13th, 2026 at 7:12 p.m. Eastern Time. So this chapter, it entered Aries for the first time in May. It's retrograding, and then it's going to finally get back in February of next year. So it's a long period of time where it's doing this preview period, it's backing up, and then it's getting back to the starting point. So lots of things to think about during this time. We're going to be rebuilding, reflecting. And because we're dipping back into those Saturn and Pisces areas, again, you can look back at my blog post. You can go rewatch that video where I talked more about what Saturn in Pisces means for you, as well as some of the chart examples. We are closing the chapter again on that period of time. Saturn first entered Pisces in March 2023. So we had a little over 2 years of Saturn in Pisces. This is our vacation right now. That is now coming to a close. And then from September 1st to February 13th, we're going to have that follow-up period where we'll be finishing up everything else that we need to, anything left unattended, anything that we've let slide in Pisces to get corrected by Saturn during that time. So during the fall and the bulk of winter, honestly, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere.